Hello, this is a video overview for week 13. Now you're going to notice in week 13 we're shifting away from the epic poetry unit and we're going to be looking at two different literary genres. The first genre we're going to be looking at is the religious hymn, and the second type of literary genre we're going to be analyzing is of course what's called the morality play. Now as far for the religious hymn, you do need to look below week 13 and you're going to notice we have a module 15 that is labeled the Egyptian poetry module. Now, the first thing I would encourage you to do, okay, before you read the actual work, is please view the video lesson that I have. It just overviews just very briefly. It's less than 10 minutes, overviewing kind of Egypt, also the author of this particular hymn, who was Amenhotep IV. He was a pharaoh during the Amarna time period in Egypt's history. And Amenhotep IV decided to essentially change the whole religious landscape of Egypt, and it didn't work out very well for him, okay? So I want you to look at this particular genre of literature because it's very reminiscent of your traditional hymn. It doesn't matter what religion, most of your religious hymns have very similar structures and organizations, and you're going to be doing an activity that's going to be for extra credit, which is this Hymn to the Sun modern hymnal activity that's going to help you in doing that. Now, I do mention in that video, you do want to actually read the hymn, which is A2. You also want to watch some of this documentary about Akhenaten. It's a very interesting time period in Egypt's history because normally when we think of Egypt, we think of Egypt as, more of a landscape of a polytheistic belief system, similar to our Greeks and our Romans. They believed in more than one god. They also believed them to be anthropomorphic, which means half man, half animal. But as far as Akhenaten, Amenhotep IV, he essentially tried to completely shift the perception of gods into one god. And he tried to change his whole kingdom's religious belief system. And he did so very, very cruelly and also, harshly. He essentially destroyed, defaced every remnant that he could of that previous belief system, which his father even believed in. And then after his death, you can probably imagine his attempt to change the kingdom to a monotheistic belief system, worshiping Aten, the sun god, didn't work out very well. And most of his people, they abandoned a capital city he attempted to build in respect for Aten, the sun god. And also they abandoned his whole belief system and went back to the polytheistic belief system. So I do want you to appreciate this particular hymnal because it is reminiscent of their religious hymn, but it's also reminiscent of a really cool time period in Egypt's history, because this is a piece of literature that notes a historic moment that was very fascinating for that time period. And if you want to learn more about that, I definitely encourage you to watch that Akhenaten, the Rebel Pharaoh. It's a very interesting view. All right, now as I mentioned, you do have a second literary genre we're going to be looking at. If you enjoy Dante's Inferno, I really think you're also going to enjoy this particular work. It is a morality play, Everyman. Now, again, Everyman, it is meant to be a psychomachia. I mentioned this in the video lesson. Similar to Dante's Inferno, it is an externalized dramatization of a struggle between good and evil. In this case, we have a protagonist, Everyman, who could be every man or every woman, who is going along the journey of life and attempting to just have a path of goodness, of righteousness, which sometimes can be difficult. All of us going through the times that we're going through at this point, it's hard to stay on a righteous, morally good path when terrible things are going around you. Now, as far as doing this particular assignment, I would encourage you first to watch the video lesson that I provide. There's also a handout that overviews it. Now, this is a play, and I mentioned this in the video as well. I would encourage you to have the play text on your smartphone and then watch the actual visual play, which is a stage production, on your smart TV or on maybe your tablet or on your laptop. It will make this easier. You also do have reading questions for Everyman. I do not have reading questions, you'll note, for Hymn to the Sun, but I do have an activity for you to do with Hymn to the Sun, and I mentioned that in the video lesson, and that will be for extra points. As always, if you have any questions about either of the literary works, I encourage you to contact me. I hope that you enjoy these two literary works. As I said, we're kind of veering into different genres of literature. I know we spent a huge amount of time on epic poetry, but that is a huge aspect of world literature. So we're done with that genre and are shifting into these others that I hope you'll enjoy, and that will be a distraction during this very stressful time for all of us. Y'all have a very blessed week, and as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully we will all make it out of this terrible time even stronger than what we were. Thank you.